Hey guys, it's Tobin here. Thanks for checking out the channel. Much appreciated. If you could, go subscribe to the Tobin and Leroy show, which is available for you on all podcast platforms. But if you guys are watchers, or you guys are YouTube watchers, which I think you are, that's why you're here, I put the WQAM YouTube page in the description. And if you guys could go subscribe to that, would mean a lot to me. 4 hours of silly sauce every single day with me and my guy Leroy Horde, Marcos J. Fig, the whole lot of us. Back together again. You know, congratulations to Marcos and his lovely bride and their beautiful baby and, you know, just a lovely little family. And so very happy that Marcos is back. And I believe the audience is as well. So it's great to have him. Meanwhile, let's get into this. Game 4 coming up on Friday. I'll be boots on the ground for that one. Very excited. You know, I feel like I got a better grip of what's going to be in that building come Friday night, and felt like it was a party yesterday and enjoyed every aspect of the atmosphere and the celebs that were there and the pomp and circumstance. I enjoyed basically everything but the game outside of like that little Caleb Martin run that got the crowd fired up. And then Jamal Murray basically put an end to that. But, you know, the big things that are question marks going into this game are very much the same things that we've been wondering about game in and game out. And I think it starts for the Miami Heat. It really starts with Tyler Herro. And I think for that, we appear to have an answer, and that is that he is ruled out. Tyler Herro is still not cleared, not medically cleared after Thursday's workout. You could see him doing a workout, had something on his shooting hand. And so, you know, as the days tick by, as it goes, it does seem less and less likely that Tyler Herro is going to be out there. And, like, I think when we got that report from ESPN Radio and Anthony Chang the other day, like, that felt very much like what was in the cards. You know, there was a lot of cold water being thrown on the idea that Tyler Herro was going to make his return, which, honestly, for the most part, I'm just bummed for Tyler because I think everybody on this team in some way or another has gotten to do some proven wrong, has gotten to shut up some doubters. It's kind of been the whole rallying cry of all of them, hasn't it? And Tyler Herro is no different from anybody else. And Bam shed a little light on this and saying that he could relate to him after what he went through in the 2020 finals.
Considering I've been in that position, the first finals, having to sit and watch your team, you know, go through that battle and try to figure it out without you. But I think he's in good spirits. You know, he's definitely inching his way back. But, you know, the biggest thing is him getting healthy at the end of the day. So we want him to be fully healthy, you know, so when he does return, if he does, we'll have that same Tyler, you know, during the season where he was being that bucket getter that we know him for.
Huge bucket getter and a huge guy that has a lot of chemistry with 13, too. I mean, those guys, their two-man game together, pretty dynamic. One of the most effective offensive weapons for Miami this year, and it has been, I think, missed at times. I think that other guys have valiantly filled in for sure. But, you know, as we can see, like, it's you want those guys who can present that threat, that dual threat with him and Bam, and they can be pretty dynamic together. And, you know, I think especially who knows what this summer does bring, but we saw, especially in the games where, like, Jimmy is out and Jimmy, you know, has his regular season time where, like, he won't, you know, he'll have his little knick-knack injuries and banged up here, banged up there. It's a back-to-back. You don't want to push through. And I think that we've seen signs of what Tyler and Bam can do flourishing together. So it is a bummer not being seeming like we're not going to be able to get to see what that is like. But the other big thing is Jimmy. You know, it feels like we're at this point with him where every single day everybody wants to know, hey, when are you going to get the buckets? When are you going to do this? When are you going to return to playoff Jimmy? When are you going to dazzle us the way that you have? People are throwing his, you know, field goal percentage in his face and, you know, wondering, you know, where is the Superman that was here for the first 6 games of the playoffs that was unstoppable? And I feel like that stuff, I think, first of all, that was an insane, you know, level that he's been at. And I think also the fact that he has been and has had a big hand. Like, people act like Jimmy Butler's been coasting this entire time. having his team in the NBA Finals that he's been that he's been playing tag along, which is just not the case. But I do think that for Jimmy, for Bam, they I did a video a couple a couple games back when they were facing Game 7, and I said it was a legacy game for them. That these guys as a duo had put this team in a good position, but you can't be the duo that's been stinking up the joint like they had and also be laughed at by history. And they didn't. They got to the NBA Finals. So I don't think that Jimmy and Bam are facing necessarily like legacy games in the idea that, look, if they lose this series, it's going to be looked upon as a big failure. I think that would be stupid. Nobody expected this team to be here. But I think based on their expectations and their hopes and their career goals, Bam always says he wants to be, the culture bearer, the guy who holds the torch for the next wave. There's that selfie that with him, D Wade and Spo and UD. And, those guys, Bam talked about this week with D Wade talking to him before the 2020 finals and, put young fella on the phone and, embrace this moment. And Bam, in the first 2 games of this series, really, really great. I think he was pretty good the last game. Certainly missed some makeable shots. People talk about his aggression. I didn't think it was an aggression thing. I mean, he got to the free throw line 10 times, got 17 rebounds, and that was basically the only guy getting boards for the Heat on a super efficient night in the paint for the Denver Nuggets. But look, I think for their expectations, Bam wants that, and then of course Jimmy Butler. It's like it's kind of the last thing in his career that he needs, that he wants. He doesn't even want to touch the Eastern Conference Finals trophy. He doesn't even want to sniff the Larry O'Brien MVP trophy, or the Larry Bird, who gives a rat's ass, is named after Larry Bird. Larry Bird Eastern Conference Finals trophy. It's like he has his goal set on the final goal. And so while I don't think this is a legacy series or game in that I don't think that Jimmy Butler is going to be laughed at if they lose this series. I don't think that Bam Adebayo is going to be laughed at if they lose this series because they're the underdog. When they go back to Denver, win or lose, they're probably going to be double-digit underdogs in that Game 5. But, for their legacy and for what they think personally, forget about the blowhards out there that didn't think they were going to be here in the first place. It is going to be an interesting measure in this next game of what they can bring from a standpoint of, you just had a game where Jokic and Murray had a team that was quite frankly a little bit shook. They were a little bit shook, a little bit scared, and really all of their role guys outside of Christian Brown's little run there in the fourth quarter kind of played like it. And those guys really lifted things up. Now, maybe this is a game tomorrow where Strus goes off, Duncan goes off, Kyle Lowry has a vintage Kyle Lowry game. But if you can't count on that, the thing that's going to be wondered upon is, can Jimmy and can Bam do what Jokic and Murray did? Can they buoy their team? Can they lift them up? Can they raise the level of this team going forth in this Game 4, which, listen, for all intents and purposes, is a must-win game. The teams that have come back from 3-1 in the NBA Finals, the list is quite short. And so you put yourself in and especially when you don't have home court advantage. So you're in this spot where, Fridays it's as must win as a non-must win can get, because your season isn't over if you lose. And I guess you had just seen a team that was on the brink and nearly almost got the job done. That's what they said about the Celtics, right? Almost got the job done. But I think that if you lose this game on your court, they've lost 3 straight now on their home court after being unbeaten there basically since the Chicago Bulls play-in game. They've now hit a skid. They got to protect home court, and they need a big bounce back from Jimmy Butler, a more efficient game from Jimmy Butler. A guy who can attack like crazy. Can Jimmy give you one of those crazy games where, he's getting to the free throw line 15 times and he's shooting a great percentage, and can Jimmy Butler give you a 35-point effort like he was averaging in the first half of this postseason run when he was bar none the best player in the postseason? I mean, it remains to be seen. I tell you one thing though, I'm not certainly doubting him. I mean, how many times are people going to do that with Jimmy Butler? Where the guy looks broken, the guy looks like he's got nothing left in the tank. Game 5 last year, Eastern Conference Finals, comes back season on the line, and Boston does what he does. Down in the finals to the LA Lakers, no Bam Adebayo, no Goran Dragic. Has a teenager, has Duncan Robinson scared out of his mind, has mother bleeping Kelly Olynyk, and does what he does to go get games against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Severely outgunned. We know what this guy's capable of. We do. I think the ankle questions are fair. I think here's the thing. I think the ankle questions are fair, but I think you're not doing anybody any justice. Like, I see all these splits that are up there for everybody to be like, this is what Jimmy is shooting the first 6 games of the playoffs when he was the greatest player known to basketball. And these are the stats after Josh Hart decided to turn him into a bowling pin and steamroll his limbs. And it's like, yeah, we get it. Jimmy's probably not playing at 100%, but he's not going to use that as an excuse right now. And you're 3 wins away from a championship. It's not, to me, here's the thing about it. Like, I certainly think that it's fair to look back at the 2020 finals and say, oh, there's a bit of an asterisk on that. I'm talking about Riles. Because there's a shock of, right as you start the playoffs, you lose your playoff leading scorer in Goran Dragic. You lose your best defensive player in Bam Adebayo. Boom, boom, like that. And you're supposed to respond. With Jimmy, we're going to keep talking about something that happened in, game 1 of the New York Knicks series. They've won now 2 series since that. They have a playoff win in the NBA Finals with Jimmy on a bad leg. And Jimmy's had his moment. We've seen this guy maybe cannot do the wire-to-wire kill shot like he was doing against Milwaukee, but we have seen the summonance of this persona, playoff Jimmy. And I feel like I went over all those when he was talking about, I don't want to be a scorer, but he did talk about this. This was him on his dip and field goal percentage and saying that he'll be better.
Nope, just some missed shots. It's part of the game. It'll get better, but missed shots, made shots, we just got to win because then nobody's paying attention to it, which we will do. I will be better because whenever I'm better, we are better as a whole.
The thing that I think is going to be interesting about it, though, is this is I believe, the lone game in the finals where there's only a 1-day rest. So how he responds to that, how Kyle responds to that, because we had seen in the Boston series, in the Eastern Conference Finals, when that was the schedule the whole time, those guys, some of the older guys had some trouble, and I do think that that'll be an interesting thing to check out with this one. But look, man, it's all there for them. We've seen this team capable of beating Denver. They certainly need to be more efficient with their shooting. They took some tough shots. They were forced into some tough shots. I think Denver did a much better job of staying disciplined against them. But the thing about this team that I hope everybody remembers, every Heat fan remembers, when everything looks the bleakest with them, and I'm talking regular season, I'm talking play-ins, I'm talking Bucks, I'm talking Knicks, I'm talking Celtics. Whenever it looks the bleakest with them, it is typically the time where they surprise you with their best stuff. And that's what I think we're going to get on Friday night.